Today we have a bunch of IPS, both medium and Mogul Base caps. So we're going to go over how to measure the inside opening of the IPS cap and the outer diameter of the pipe stem to show you how to know which IPS system you have. First, we're just going to look at these. So these are in the front here are our medium base caps. And in the back two rows, we have our Mogul Base IPS caps. So just real quick, we just wanted to show you on some of the Mogul Base, especially the Lebanon brand, there are ones that have tabs. Those tabs fit specifically into notches on the Lebanon sockets. So these caps can only be used on those sockets with those little notches around the outside rim of the socket where the wires exit. So if those have those notches, usually it's a Lebanon branded cap. And you can see that there are Mogul Base caps without those notches. Here we have medium base IPS caps and some pipe stems. So we're going to show you how to measure the outside diameter of the pipe stem or the opening on the IPS cap to know which IPS system you have. Just remember that when you have a 1/8 IPS system, it doesn't mean 1/8 inch IPS. The 1/8 actually is the measurement of the inner diameter of the pipe stem is 1/8 of an inch. So when you measure the outside of that, the measurement must be bigger, and the same thing with the opening of the cap, that would be even bigger. So first, we're going to start with 1/8 inch pipe stem. So we're going to measure the outside of it. Now the outside of it, if you use our formula, is going to be 1/4 of an inch bigger. So you're going to measure the outside of that and then subtract off approximately 1/4 of an inch. So as you can see right here, the outside diameter of this pipe stem is 3/8 of an inch. So if you subtract 1/4 of an inch from that, that's how you know that this is the 1/8 IPS pipe stem. Next, we'll measure the inner diameter of the cap. Now, don't forget there are threads in here, so you're not able to measure the full width of the inner diameter of the cap. So here we're getting around 23/64. If you divide it out, it's somewhere around like 2.8 or 2.9 over 8, which is really close to 3/8 of an inch. So round up, so it's 3/8 of an inch minus 1/4, and this would mean that it's the 1/8 IPS cap. So again, you're not going to measure the inside diameter of this and say that it's close to 3/8 of an inch and then say, oh, this must be the 3/8 IPS cap. No, you take 1/4 of an inch off of that measurement, you subtract that. Next, let's figure we have a pipe stem here. So we're going to use our formula. We're going to measure the outside of it, and we're going to subtract 1/4 of an inch. So let's measure the outside of it. We get 1/2 of an inch. So 1/2 of an inch subtract 1/4. This must be the 1/4 IPS system. So now let's measure the cap. So on the cap, we're getting 15/32, which is really close to 16/32, which would be 1/2 inch. So again, this is the 1/4 IPS cap. Here we have an IPS cap. It's unknown the size, so let's take its measurement and then do our formula so we can figure out what size it is. So this is coming up to be 95 over 128, or it's really close to 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch, so we'll subtract 1/4 of an inch. So this is a 1/2 IPS cap. So this is a 1/2 medium base IPS cap. Here we have our Mogul Base IPS caps. Again, these are the ones with no tabs on the bottom. So let's measure the opening and see what we can figure out which cap this is. Okay, so when we measure this one is 15/32. Now remember, there are the threads inside that we're not able to fully measure the entire opening of this. So round that up to 16/32. You got 1/2 inch. So this is the 1/4 IPS. So this is a 1/4 Mogul IPS. And we'll take our 1/4 inch pipe stem. We can show you that they do thread together. So that is the 1/4 IPS. Okay, let's measure our next Mogul Base IPS. This is really close to about 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so if we're at 5/8 of an inch, that's the closest measurement to an 1/8 inch. At 5/8 of an inch, you subtract 1/4 of an inch off, and this is the 3/8 IPS cap. Last, We have one more Mogul cap that we're going to measure. Let's see which one this one is. Let's measure the opening on that. And we're getting 3/4 of an inch. So take your 1/4 inch off. This is the half Mogul IPS cap. So this is 1/2 Mogul IPS cap.